Good evening, everyone. So I kind of want to try to break down Hunter's trail talk versus Kana or Kanji, because Kana and Kanji are standard language. Uh, Hunting trail language is not. The trail talk is much more like Native American trail talk. When we were hunting together, we may not always meet up at the same time, so we'd leave, pattern elements down to say, hey, I'm over here. So let me break this down for you in a hopefully digestible way. So this is the trail that I go up where I'm currently in the Guanche area with, big scary guy, which is up here usually. And on the trail, there's a cross-through trail, deer trail. So this is the little sit spot that I recorded up underneath the white pine tree that's got rose hips next to it. And this is the grass element laid down to say, hey, there's a blind down there. So these little elements are laid out in grass typically. Sometimes sticks, but usually this stuff is laid down in grass just like Native Americans used to. So the next two elements after, I've identified blind, you got, hey, what you can spare. This means these two groups regularly trade with each other. And this is a common hunting practice. They share this deer trail and the goods off of it. The third element is an Ishka hunter has come to visit, and he wants to Mai Mai. He wants to Mai Mai. He wants to buy, sell. So he wants part of this. He's going to give some goods in trade for the piece of deer that he gets, but he's not normally a hunter, and he does not trade amongst these two groups. He comes to buy, sell. These two groups have a strong relationship in trade. So somebody from this group's going to vouch for this guy to sit in the blind over here, while the 5 individuals that come from the other ridge line are going to sit underneath the braided tree. The guest and the young Guanche individual will be down in here watching for the game to come up. They'll signal this group when the deer are approaching, and then, they'll hunt. So that is part of how Native Americans used to communicate between tribes when we were cooperatively hunting in an area. And it's exactly the same as what the Sabe people do, what you call Forest Brothers or Bigfoot. So let me go over to what trail sign looks like when it's kanji and not just patterned, straight out representation of terrain and tactical positioning. So this is a kanji, which you have to break into its kana forms in order to translate. So this is a complete thought, and then you have to pull these elements apart. So the overall with this one was Skookum individual was trading with probably a dogman for rotten wood, starter fire, or tinder. So this is the element that says yes to all of that. The central kana is, that wood, meaning the trade item. Reverence to the individual. If it's referred to as king, then you're probably dealing with a dogman. If it's elder, it's another skookum. But this symbol can actually represent, this kana can actually represent both of these concepts. So until you visually see who they're trading with, you aren't going to know which one they're trading with. And then the top element here is the kana for to sing or to praise. It's also suggestive that this pair of individuals, this was potentially their first trade. So the guy that's being traded with saying, hey, I'll sing your praises if it's a good trade. So that's that sort of element with using kanji. And then you can also have just straight up kana. Now, kana are complete thought in and of themselves and don't need any further translation or breakdown. So they are kana that represent a particular word or complete thought. One of the most common ones you'll find is go for dog. These two elements, these two kanji, were found where the Skookum child lost its life. This one means closure. This element, also based on the kana strong, Basically meaning, you know, the life too short. You know, the child didn't live long enough to have life. So that was represented in this kana. So these elements, these kana, you can look up directly. And then you'll get into trail markers that you might find in trees. I'm going to go into this one because I finally have a translation for it. It's taken me months to figure it out. I'll go ahead and put the picture up, and I'll probably do a little bit about it. So these other elements, you know, you're just going to find straight up kana and kanji that you don't necessarily have to break apart. You know, they'll translate straight over. But once you start getting into their patterned kanji, where they're laying kana on top of kana, it's much more difficult to translate. You actually have to pull the kanji apart in order to translate the elements. But the straight kana, you know, just the language bits, they'll be the same as modern language, Asiatics. So there's some differences in their trail communications. And there's not only language, there's also pictorial representation. Hunter's talk. Have a great day.